Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about when you ignore the red flags. The reason that I wanted to put out this video today is because I have had quite a few of you guys completely ignoring red flags in your relationships this past week. I've seen a pattern of it, and so I thought I better talk about this some more. Before I get to the video, I just wanted to thank you guys for all the incredible support that I've been receiving, since I launched the channel a few months ago. I've been absolutely overwhelmed with, the comments and the emails from you guys, and you guys are just loving the videos, and I can't tell you, that feels so good to hear from you guys. I can't get to all the comments, but I do try and look at them, and I love you guys' comments. So many of you guys put the funniest comments in there, and I really do look over them and I do appreciate them. So I just wanted to thank you guys for that. The growth of these videos has just blown me away, and it's like every week it's like they're doubling in views, and I'm getting more and more emails, and you guys wanting to work with me and just appreciation emails. So I just want to let you guys know that I really appreciate that, and I love to hear from you guys, and I love to work with you guys. If you want to do it, it's very simple. Just go to AskCraig.net, click on the center of the home page. It says schedule a coaching. We could do email coaching, we could do Skype coaching. I love Skype coaching with you guys, as you'll see by when we're doing it together. It's a lot of fun. I try and really help you guys get insight, and I try and have a good time with you too, because I know it's a tough time, and it's good to be able to laugh at things. And I a lot of times I know I'm putting a really corny joke in the videos, and so I hesitate sometimes because I'm like, oh, this is so corny. But honestly, I get such incredible emails from you guys just saying to me, your jokes and your humor have helped me in such a dark time, and I'm just like, wow, it's nice to know that you're not just sitting there shaking your head at the screen, although some of you guys probably are doing that as well. So for this email, we're going to talk about ignoring the red flags, and this is a good example of two people that have had a lot of trauma in their life. One formed an anxious attachment style, and one an avoidant attachment style. And we're looking about very avoidant behaviors. And, I feel for the woman in this video. She seems sweet and hurt by what's going on. And I'll tell you what, she's very beautiful, guys. So don't think that beautiful women don't have difficult time meeting nice people too, because they really do. I know a lot of guys think, oh, she's so beautiful, she must have it easy. No, let me tell you something. Not the case. The woman that's going through this, absolutely beautiful woman. You guys would love to, I'm sure, meet a girl like this. And so you're going to see the hell that this guy puts her through, because it really is hell. So let me go ahead and get into this email. But before, actually, I wanted to say one thing before I did. Looking over the red flags. I talked about the video, Always Go With Your Gut, last week, which I kind of regret saying always, because some people shouldn't go with their gut, because maybe they've had a trauma and they're hyper vigilant to things and they're seeing things that aren't there. But just know that using your gut is often a very good guide for most of you guys to help figure out when something is dangerous or not a good situation for you. So, if you grew up in a home where you repressed your needs, and you did it because you were likely afraid that if you put any demands on your caregivers, they're going to abandon you. Or maybe you gave up because they kept telling you that your needs were important, or they just kept ignoring them. So many different ways can be the reason that you started to ignore your instincts and your needs and what was going on for you internally. And the reason I'm telling you this is because that is part of the reason that you ignore the red flags. Because you've been ignoring things your whole life. So you're just ignoring the red flags. So, like I said, this is a very good situation to give you an idea of somebody that has a very anxious attachment style and a very avoidant attachment style, and you're going to start to see a lot of the behaviors you would from dating somebody who has an avoidant attachment style. So if you're sitting there thinking, well, I don't know if I dated somebody that has an avoidant attachment style. Well, this is an extreme form of it. And so if you see these things or have seen these kind of behaviors in your partner, then it's a good signal that, yep, they had an avoidant attachment style. So, this woman is not married. He was married once for about 5 years, and she's never been married, and she has a history of getting involved with avoidant men, one of which was her child's father, who she went through a lengthy court battle with. She got pregnant and took off. She said she was a total Houdini. So I guess she's like the runaway bride. So this woman has a history of dating avoidant guys, one of which was abusive and threw her into a wall. So she decided she wasn't going to date for 5 years after that. She was working on herself, getting counseling for herself, which is amazing. I'm so glad she did that. She's working on herself and trying to heal. And the guy that she was dating here has 2 kids, but here's a red flag. He's not allowed to see his kids. What does that tell you? He's not allowed to see his own kids. That is not a good sign. That's a major red flag for me. And if you have somebody in your life that can't see their kids, you better really take a look at that, because the courts don't generally take away visitation from a kid unless something's going on there. So she said, I used to have an anxious attachment style. I went through therapy to learn about secure attachment style and what it looks like, how to shift through patterns and communicate effectively and set boundaries, and to learn about healthy relationships. That's amazing. And you should be so proud of yourself for doing that, because so many people make no effort, and you really did, so that's great. And you deserve somebody that's going to treat you good. She grew up with 2 avoidant parents, and, you know, it's so difficult for us because we feel like who we were as children is who we are as an adult. And the things that happened to us as a child is who we are. And that's just not the case. It's a story that we get caught up in. And you don't have to keep living that story. You can make your own story. So, she says, he also grew up with the same. His dad was verbal and physically abusive. My mother was the same. He was close to his mother, who had a long affair. He was the only one who knew about it, being the youngest of 6. She married the affair partner 20 years later, or something. I find it hard to believe that there were 6 kids and only one of them knew about an affair. And if that's the case, look at his childhood, that he doesn't have relationships with any of his siblings to even talk about mom having an affair. That's kind of a big deal. So, she said, I was closer with my dad, who was abusive towards my mother, but protective of me. One day, he just abandoned the entire family in a new city, which I don't think my mother was able to ever let go of. Wow. Think about that trauma of dad just leaving and abandoning them, of being this abusive guy to mom. So she bonded with him. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Stockholm Syndrome, where somebody bonds with the person that is causing the trauma, for lack of a better way of describing it. This is really fascinating, though. Stockholm Syndrome, basically, and I was talking about this with my supervisor not that long ago, is fascinating because it's like we bond with the person that's in control of our life as a way to survive it. I don't know if you've ever heard of where it comes from, where basically these, from my understanding of it, these guys came in to rob a bank, and there were a bunch of women in the bank who were acting like they were heroes, and they were on this heroic quest to make a point, and they were putting their lives at risk, and they shouldn't be doing it, but they're doing it to be noble. Anyway, the women bonded with these guys that were holding them hostage over the like 12 days or whatever it was. And these guys all went to jail. They were all caught. And the women waited for these guys to get out of prison, and they each married the guys. Yeah. Crazy, right? So, what's going on there? Well, we tend, I think, to bond with the person that has this power over, this life or death power over us, because we do it to survive. And somehow it impacts us on this level where it's hard to break that bond. I don't know what it is about it. It's fascinating though. So I think that might be part of the reason that people bond to their abusers, because they did it at a point in time to survive, and then it's difficult to break that bond afterwards. Fascinating, right? So, let me go on with this. I totally got derailed there. Alright, so the guy that she dated was a Jehovah's Witness. And I'll be honest, you know, I do therapy a lot locally, and in a lot of the situations where I've seen Jehovah's Witnesses, there's been a lot of abuse and a lot of reality distortion, a lot of hidden sexual abuse. Not going to say that happens everywhere. I'm just going to tell you from my personal experience, that's what I saw. Some of it was very extreme too. Alright, so this guy left his home when he was 18. He has issues with rejection. He mentioned every girlfriend he has had since his marriage has broken up with him. Coincidentally, around 2 months of dating, they're and they're always long distance relationships for him. So this guy has a history of short-term relationships and they're long distance. Why? Because he can't handle closeness. He can't handle intimacy. It's too scary for him. On the one hand, he's dying to feel close to people, but on the other, he has all that trauma, and being close to somebody felt like death. So it's, I hate you, don't leave me. Alright, let me go on here. I guess there were several breakups between them, and they only were together a few months. The first one, listen to how bizarre this is. He broke up with her over Facebook Messenger, and it was like impulsively out of nowhere, and there was some just kind of small miscommunication. So she went out for the day, came home, and saw a message that said, "We're breaking up." And he had changed his status to single. That is bizarre, isn't it? Think about that. Do you think somebody with a secure attachment style would do that? Absolutely not. They would talk to you and communicate. This guy breaks up with you, changes his status to single before you even had a chance to talk about it. Hey, right? So, let me go on here. Listen how bizarre this is, too. It took him 5 days to calm down enough to actually talk to him about when he did that. We worked it out and got back together. He said he thought something I said was implying I wanted to break up. See, he's hyper-vigilant that somebody's going to abandon him as well. I explained there is none there's no tone on text or chat, and no context. Yeah, so he was projecting his own insecurities into a message between them, which is something that anxious and avoidant people tend to do more than secure people. They are projecting their fears onto what you're saying and doing in the text messaging. Boy, text really does cut out so much of our communication and understanding what's going on between us, right? This is why I tell you guys, don't flirt and joke around in the texting, because it can be easily misconstrued and it will make the other person's interest level drop, especially in the beginning 2 or 3 months. Once somebody's in love with you, you have some flexibility there, but if they don't even know you, let me tell you something. I hear from women all the time, guys, that are saying a guy will send them an inappropriate text or a joking text, and it's too soon, and they lose total interest. So you got to be careful. Alright, so let me go on. I apologize, I keep getting off track. But at least I'm sharing good stuff, right? Stockholm Syndrome, and then the texting and the, projecting and the text messages, so it's good stuff. I mentioned to him before getting involved, I find long-distance relationships difficult, and they aren't my preference, and I don't blame you. I don't like to do long-distance relationships either. They are very tough, especially if you don't have a secure attachment style. But if there is an end goal of being in the same place one day, then I'm open to it. I want to be in something that has potential to go somewhere. He agreed. I was happy with this upcoming December timeframe he had suggested moving here. In my opinion, it didn't make sense to me to move to a new city to be with somebody and not live together. Well, sure, that makes sense. If you're going to move to be with somebody, yeah, I would think that, I would agree with that. In hindsight, maybe mentioning that freaked him out or he felt obligated. No. Well, yes. I take that back. Yes, it freaked him out, but no, I don't think you did the wrong thing by suggesting that. The second breakup occurred shortly after he decided he wanted to move here sooner than December. He suggested September. He actually said he didn't want to be away from me too long, and he was here for 3 weeks at a time anyway, paying rent and helping me with bills and rent at my place too. We took 2 trips together in the meantime. We got along great. In fact, I was absolutely crazy about him. Yeah, because he was just like your caregivers. He was so easy to be around, and once I got past his insecurity, so you're overlooking his shortcomings, or you're admittingly saying you're overlooking the red flags here. I loved how smart he is. He's not as smart as you think he is. She said, this is the downside of being a sapiosexual. I don't really know much about that. I'm assuming it means you fall in love with somebody because of their intellect. Sounds reasonable to me. I asked several times if he was sure about September moving in. He said yes. And he put a Facebook post about it, packed up, had a moving truck, bringing all the stuff there, and then he was on his way there. He got there. She had some issues going on with her daughter and a custody issue, but he winds up breaking up with her like before his stuff, before the moving truck has even gotten there. He is broken up with her. If that just doesn't scream avoidant, I don't know what does. I'm picking up to move there. I've changed my mind. The gas of the truck is too expensive. I'm turning around. You know what? I'm just going to park it somewhere and I'll live right wherever I'm at. This guy he's in a lot of trouble. He is. He's in a lot of trouble. He's not in a good place. And that's the thing, is that so many of you guys think that if you had done this or you had done that, you could make the relationship work, and it's simply not the way it works. And I know, because I've been in your shoes, and I dated somebody that's avoidant, and I sat there and looked at every single situation and scenario and thought, if I had done this and I had done that. And the reality is, she just couldn't do it, and she still can't do it. And she still doesn't know why. And it's been years later. And this guy, he's even worse. He's really got a long way to go. And he's just blaming. You know, he blamed him wanting to leave. He said, my rage reminded me of my ex-wife and we can't get along, we're incompatible, before he even got there. And she's been through therapy, and she says, Craig, I'm very conscious of how I am acting and behaving even when I am triggered. Right down to my body language. I am quite conscious that he was being manipulative in the way he was handling himself. Yes, that is a very good way of taking responsibility off of yourself and putting it onto the other person. Blaming, twisting reality, twisting what's really going on completely takes the pressure off of dealing with the real issue. See how that works? This is very common with people that have avoidant attachment styles or personality disorders, which I tend to think this guy does because his behavior is very extreme. Continued to do a lot of selfish, immature behavior the few days that he was there, blaming, saying it was her and he wasn't going to deal with it, and just one thing after another. He changed their status on Facebook and was trying to get all kinds of sympathy from people online. So she started discovering more and more that this is a real history for him. One woman moved to Hawaii to meet him and be with him, but she changed her mind after 2 months. I'm surprised it took her that long. Another woman warned her that this guy is a complete mess to be with. Maybe that should have been the title of this video. A complete mess to be with. Okay, sometimes I crack myself up here, people. This guy, I gotta skip the rest of this because it's just one thing after another. Honestly, it just goes on and on with one failed thing after another. I do want to point out a couple of things that he did to her to make her feel uncomfortable. He would grope her inappropriately, like when she would go to hug him at the airport, he would grab her butt and squeeze it, and like she's wearing like a really pretty dress, and he's just treating her like, you know, garbage, not like he cares about her, but just like, you know, an object, a piece of meat. Like, he can't, and it wasn't cute or funny or flirty, she said. It was just rude the way he did it. Alright. More nonsense that I'm skipping over because it's just too much. Childish games of blocking and unblocking on Facebook and messaging, and then messaging later, and then ignoring and not responding. You may have seen all these kinds of patterns here. So let's skip down to the bottom where she has a few questions. She says, what the hell do I do if I want to work things out with him? Try getting a lobotomy. If you numb your brain to the point where you don't care about reality, maybe it'll work with this guy. Please do not pursue a relationship with this guy. You are young. You have worked too hard on yourself. You're very beautiful. Many guys would love to meet you and take you out and treat you the way you need to be treated. You have kids. You have a future. This guy is not even close to making anything like that happen for himself. He can't do it. It's not you. A lot of you guys watch these videos and you don't realize sometimes it's not you. Like I said, I've had quite a few people this week. I had another guy that's completely ignoring everything about what his ex's behavior is like. He's really addicted, in my opinion. he's really addicted to that initial drug-like feeling that he got when he first started dating her years ago. That's what I think he's hung up on, how he felt initially. Because nothing that she does, he likes about her. Everything in her life, he doesn't like. She's a liar. She is... Well, I'm not going to get into that one, but that'll be another 2-hour story right there. Bottom line is, you have to look at reality. You have to look at the person's behavior. You have to look at how they're acting, what they're doing. Can they make a relationship work? Can they communicate their needs? Can they give you what you need? It's give and take. You can't just be a mechanic trying to fix the relationship all the time. You need 2 people to be the mechanics, working on it together. She's done. I think he is. Because he can't attach to you. He can't attach to anybody. He keeps breaking up with these girls, or they keep breaking up with him as soon as they get to know him, because he meets these women online where it's a fantasy and that's what he can handle, but the minute it becomes reality, whoa, no, I can't handle that. That's how you know that there's major issues going on here. He can't handle any kind of intimacy. All of these questions that she has are just, if I do this, will this happen? If I do that, will he do this? I cannot stress enough that sometimes someone just can't do it. And you can't overlook the red flags. You have to look at the person and what they're doing, what their behavior is like. Don't ignore lies. Don't ignore if they mistreat people. Don't ignore if they lie to other people in their life and you see it, or you see them mistreat other people, because eventually you're going to be on the other end of that. So, if you want to get my help personally, go to my website, askcraig.net, sign up for the coaching there, just schedule a coaching. I do email coaching and Skype coaching, whatever option works best for you. And if you liked this video and found it informative, put a like on there. Leave your comments. I do go through them and read them when I can. And remember to subscribe to the channel, because I do post videos Monday through Friday. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.